everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Doria, I'm a teacher of English, and today's video is a more detailed video on matching headings, tasks in reading. So if you do not know the basics of these tasks yet, or if you're just starting out, then you should probably watch this video over here first, where I explain the basics and I give you some strategy you should follow. However, if you already know these tasks and you have practiced more than enough and they still confuse you, then this video is for you, so please keep watching. Okay, first of all, you should be careful not to lose valuable time in this task, as it has to do with whole paragraphs, you know. So please, again, do not read the whole paragraph. You cannot do that. You do not have time for that. Only skim through the paragraph just to get the overall meaning and the gist of it. So secondly, only read carefully the first 2 to 3 lines of the paragraph and the last 2 to 3 lines of the paragraph. You pay attention to these 2 parts. And what about the middle? Well, you just skim through the middle in order to very quickly, in order to find the connection between the beginning of the paragraph and the ending of the paragraph. And this will give you the overall meaning, the overall point, the gist of the paragraph, as we say. Now go quickly back to the headings and start eliminating those that definitely do not fit for this single paragraph. Usually only 2 headings are the ones that are going to confuse you. So pay attention, eliminate the rest and pay attention only to these 2 headings. Every single word in the heading is important. So ask yourself, is this true in the paragraph? Does it represent the overall meaning, the overall point that the paragraph wants to make? Does this heading stand true for the paragraph from the beginning to the end? So usually at this point you should be able to make a decision. So choose your heading and quickly move on to the next paragraph. After that, you will follow the same procedure paragraph to paragraph. You will pay attention only to the beginnings and the endings. You will skim through the middle to find a connection. Then you will go to the headings, back to the headings. You will eliminate the ones that do not fit, and you will ask yourself questions about the ones that fit, and then you will make a decision. Later, after you have finished the task, maybe you need to change something, a heading with a paragraph. If you need to change something, please don't panic. It is usual, and it will be so much clearer and easier for you to do it if you have followed the previous procedure. You will instantly know which heading should be changed in the end, okay? Overall, what you need to ask yourselves about headings and paragraphs is, what does this heading actually mean? What does it want to say? I'm sure you understand the meanings of the headings, but for example, when we have a heading that is called a real method, okay? What does real mean? Of course, they don't use the adjective real here in order to tell you that it exists, that the method exists. No, not at all. They probably use real here because maybe some people, some scientists, let's just say, don't recognize this particular method as real, as scientific. And this paragraph wants to justify and support the method as real, as scientific, for example, okay? And now let's go and have a look at some examples which may help you more. Okay, now I will show you this way of thinking with some examples. You can see this paragraph over here. Let's just read and underline very carefully just the first 2 to 3 lines. So let's go read it together. I can remember when my father was studying for the bar exam. He spent hours upon hours each night after he would get home from work. Okay, just this part over here. And then for the middle, we're going to just skim through the paragraph. So here we go. Okay, books, a lot of books. In the end, we can underline that in our skimming because it is a linking phrase and it is always a good thing to underline these. Successfully, okay. What else? Has his own law practice. Sure, money may have been a motivating factor. You can underline this too. But something else now. It's going to say, the paragraph is going to say something opposite than money being a motivating factor, all right? he wanted a career change. And now, after we skimmed through the middle, we pay attention and we underline only the last 2 to 3 lines. Let's read it together. He had been making an excellent 6-figure salary with the previous corporation he worked for, but it wasn't enough. He wanted to be his own boss. Okay, what do we do in this paragraph? Again, let's recap. We pay attention only to the beginning, we skim through the middle, and we also pay attention to the end. And what is the connection between the two parts here, the beginning and the ending? The connection is that although he was very successful in his previous corporation worked, he wanted a career change. So let's go back to the headings and find out the truth. Okay, here are our headings. Let's go one by one. Time for a career change. This could be possible. The paragraph talks about a career change, right? So it could be possible. Money as a motivating factor. Well, if I remember correctly, the paragraph said something about money being a motivating factor. Let's go and check it out again. So here we have underlined that, sure, money may have been a motivating factor for him, but more importantly, he wanted a career change. So the most important point the paragraph wants to make is not about money being a motivating factor. Sure, money always is a motivating factor, but he was happy with the money he was making. He was making an excellent 6-figure salary. The most important thing in the paragraph is that he wanted a career change. He wanted what? He wanted to be his own boss. So, money as a motivating factor, it could be, but it is not. What about economic recession and workplace? No, not at all. The paragraph says nothing about that. New way of thinking, new opportunities, not at all. We're not told about any of that. Balance between work and play. No, the paragraph doesn't say anything about that. Lost enjoyment in life, not at all. Quite the opposite. He wanted to do something else. He wanted to be his own boss. He was successful. It was not a matter of losing enjoyment. Financial security? Well, he was financially secure, but it is not the overall meaning of the paragraph, what the paragraph wants to say. What the paragraph wants to say it is that although his father was successful, it was time for a career change for him. He wanted to be his own boss. So, this is the heading for this paragraph. Now, let's go to the next paragraph to use it as an example. Obviously, I'm explaining now things, but you will do this fairly quickly, You just read the first 2 to 3 lines, just skim through the middle, and then you underline the last lines. It's not going to waste you a lot of time. And gradually, with practice, you will become better. So, let's read the first 2 to 3 lines. So often, it is the American dream to be able to work for ourselves, especially in this day and age with the economy in a recession. Okay, and we stop over here and we skim through. Okay, own supervisor, we can underline that because we may lack the discipline to maintain. Okay, while money is always a motivating factor, again, we see that. It does not have to define us. When you see these phrases, while these are linking words that usually prepare the reader that something opposite is going to be the case, you see, it does not have to define us. Laid off from the jobs, instead of being, and now the last part, instead of being disappointed or upset, people that were laid off from their jobs, instead of being disappointed or upset, they are happy for the opportunity to have some time to figure out what it is that they really want to be doing with their lives or with their life. Okay, so this paragraph is all about the workplace, isn't it? And what happens now with this economy, with this bad economy of ours nowadays? People have lost their jobs. The connection, what is the connection? The connection is that people find ways to be their own supervisor in this economy because some of them have lost their jobs, but they're not upset or disappointed. They're happy for the opportunity to have some time to do something else. Okay, let's go to the headings. Time for a career change. It could be that. honestly. But is it the main point? Does this heading define the paragraph as a whole? I don't think so. And in addition, we have already put this heading in the first paragraph where it actually went. Money as a motivating factor. Again, we saw that phrase. Let's go back to the paragraph to check it out more carefully. Okay, while money is always a motivating factor for all of us, because face it, we need money to live, obviously, it does not have to define us. In a time where so many... Okay, we have skimmed through this part, but now we can go, if we remember something, and read it a little bit more carefully. Again, it is not the main theme of the paragraph. Money is not used as a motivating factor in this case, in this paragraph, in order to convey that. This paragraph is used to say that it does not have to define us. Money, all the time. Something else is more important. Let's go back to the headings. Economic recession and workplace. Well, obviously, from the beginning till the end of the paragraph talks about economic recession and what actually happened in the workplace. People have lost their jobs and things have changed. They want to be their own boss and stuff like that. So this heading could be it, but let's move on. New way of thinking, new opportunities. The paragraph talks about the opportunity of doing something else, but the overall gist is not about a new way of thinking. We're not told about that. Nothing about a new way of thinking. And new opportunities as a plural, as a whole, no, not so much. Balance between work and play, no, it doesn't say anything about that. Lost enjoyment in life. Again, it talks about enjoyment, but quite the opposite actually. Even people that have lost their jobs, they're not upset or disappointed. Here, do you remember? Instead of being disappointed or upset, they are happy for the opportunity. So, not this heading here. And what about financial security? Well, the paragraph really doesn't talk about financial security per se. It is more of an economic recession in workplace. Do you see that now? Is that clear? I think it is really clear when you follow this strategy, when you follow this kind of procedure. Okay, that's it for today. I hope it helped. For questions and comments here or on Facebook, Twitter and Google+, our links are down below in the description box. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck with your exam.